All right, let's go to the PlayStation 5 showcase.
We're skipping all the games we played.
Yeah.
Dude, you know how many topics are? You got to go through several showcases. We got to talk about.
I played more Judgment.
Oh no, we're not doing that again.
No, seriously, I played Judgment.
Oh, he got it.
No, but it's actually still Judgment.
Oh, I knew that was gonna happen.
The double fake out.
No, but seriously, I have been playing it, and that game is excellent.
Yeah. Okay, good.
That is the most unintentionally hilarious game when you just beat the crap out of people in the street when they try to beat you up.
I got Yakuza, so same engine, Yakuza Kiwami 2. Still such good games.
Yeah,
hey, they're on Game Pass, Jordan.
Hey, the story. Well, I want to play through those next after playing this. This game is excellent. I really love the whole detective and lawyer vibes, and I really want to play.
I really want to play Like a Dragon. You want to check that out too, Jordan? In November?
I'll probably check that out. I mean, what else is going to be on the Xbox at launch, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the big one, I guess. That they somehow it's Yakuza's debuting in the West on.
Hey man, they got more exclusives in the PlayStation 5.
Whoa! Hold on.
Damn, name them.
I think about next
medium.
gen.
Yeah, the medium is a big
effect.
Can't wait to get that on PC.
Effect, oh no.
Wait, does medium have a release date?
Supposed to launch?
I think it's launched.
Is it with launch?
It's
I don't think it is. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm very stoked for that.
Okay, we'll see.
I can just double check on Steam to see when it launches.
We can double check.
On there.
I'll get it on my Game Pass.
We'll check it out. Is that one going to be in Game Pass?
Yeah, I believe so. Pretty sure.
I think we can check that.
So let's start with the PlayStation 5 showcase then. So this was their their last big event. I don't know if they're gonna do much else in terms of like one big collected event. They might do some YouTube video releases or press releases or stuff because of course they saved a lot of the good info for the press release afterwards. But the show started off with Final Fantasy 16. That is a console exclusive, I guess we'll call it, for the PS5 because it's also going to be on PC. In fact, the footage they showed was on PC. They made sure we knew that. And then they said everything else from here on is going to be on the PS5. And so they did Spider-Man Miles Morales with a gameplay look. Hogwarts Legacy was finally announced. That thing was leaked. When did that footage come out?
A year and a half ago. I actually saved it. It was a year and a half ago exactly.
Okay. Because I remember it was like that off-screen like cell phone footage where somebody like, we thought it was from a focus group or something where they took a video.
That's still the word is that it was, they put it together to be like, what do y'all think about a Hogwarts RPG? And so we just videotaped it and put it online.
Yep. And then we had, of course, did have the God of War sequel, which I'm sure Miss Click was really, really excited for. God of War Ragnarok. I guess that's the title. God of War Ragnarok. So
I think so. I definitely screamed out loud when that happened.
I was blown away.
Oh, so cool.
We had gameplay for Demon's Souls Remake. So we did have we had a good bit of gameplay for both Miles Morales and Demon's Souls Remake, both of which coming at launch. We did get PlayStation Plus Collection, which is interesting. It's going to be a bunch of PS4 games that they grab and put on, I guess, just on the PS5. You just download them and play them. So Infamous will probably look pretty cool on there, I'm sure, because I think some of these will probably see some kind of benefit from the more powerful hardware. God of War, Days Gone, Persona 5, Monster Hunter World, and a couple of others thrown on there. And then price and release date, it's coming out. So we have both PlayStation 5 versions, a 400 and a 500, and then it's coming November 12th, which strangely, I mean, they're coming out 2 days after the Xbox. It's a Thursday. And so the Xbox launched on Tuesday. This is launching on Thursday. So it's like, that's really weird because we figured it'd be a Friday or a Tuesday. So they just picked a random day in the week, I guess, to go on. And then they did show Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War gameplay. Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition got announced, which, of course, because why not with Capcom? What did you guys think of the overall show, though?
Amazing. Final Fantasy 16. Oh, my God.
I think the show was very good. Like, if you just take a look at it.
It was good.
Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I like that they did actually end it with a big game like God of War Ragnarok, and it's coming out 2020. Mm-hmm. Wait, does anyone actually think it's coming out 2021?
100%.
I think there's a good chance. Yeah.
So they talked about it. They did some interviews. I watched the big Kratos. What is it called? Donna Kratos. They did like a documentary about the
Raising
first game.
Kratos.
Raising Kratos. You're right. Yeah, and they talked about it in that how. It sounds like the second they were done with the first game, they immediately started the second. There was no gap. They said that like they had so many DLC ideas, they were like they just immediately started the next game.
Okay. Because I mean that's what 3 years then. 3.5 if it comes out at the end of 2021.
And they already have the engine, they already have the game mechanics, they already have the idea and themes. Like at this point, they probably have character models. It's just a matter of like, all right, glue it together, record the lines, fight some bosses.
Yeah, they also had tons of story stuff that they didn't even get to use on the original storyboard. So I think it'll be exciting to see them kind of bring that to life. But I think they also wanted to kind of avoid as many hiccups as they could that they did with the first one. If any of you guys haven't watched that documentary, it's an awesome watch. Highly recommend it again.
I like
it's Raising Kratos. It kind of gives you again like an insight into, I guess, that world of things. And there was stuff that, you know, I was like, oh my God, I'd be like pulling my hair out, you know, they're talking about family life and all that stuff. It was really good. But yeah, I was saying literally earlier during that same broadcast, you know, I would expect to hear something about God of War maybe next year, because I expect tons of things have been delayed. So even if, you know, we hear about it, it's slated for next year, but it ends up being 2022, I'm not going to be upset. I mean, it's kind of at this point, you almost expect things to be delayed. So I'd be very surprised if they could get it out by 2021. Props to the team if they could. But
that'd be a big year if they do have it in 2021, because I guess at this point, Ratchet and Clank, I guess, is a 2021 game. Horizon's a 2021 game.
Well, I mean, even if you look at it, though, like the original God of War to God of War 2 was less time.
Yeah,
so like we're talking about the original God of War, like on the PS2 to God of War 2, and God of War 2 is a much better game than God of War 1, you know, in my opinion at least. So it's that amazing, was that was about 2 years. I think it was like March, like 2005 or something like that, and then they got it out by the end of 2007. So I mean, this would be you know, about 3 years. So I
remember that Stex mini game they had. That was tight.
Yes, I do. Tap with the nut. Yeah,
that was wild.
So I mean, it's very well. Also,
you threw the man off, man.
Do you remember how offended people were? I remember even back then. It was like 2002, and there was articles like, "Why are you tapping circle to nut?"
I mean,
I definitely think. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I said it was just. I think it was an overall good event. What were you saying, Rob?
I really tend to think that 2021 makes a lot of sense. It's like you said, it's a 3-year cycle from the release of the last one to this next one. And I mean, when you look at how that game ended, it was a very soft ending. Like if they had chosen to, they could have just kept that game going right into the next scene. It's not like it just ended with a big boss fight and it's over and oh my God, I can't believe the credits are rolling. It's soft ending. The characters, they have like an emotional moment. They're walking away. You're kind of playing the game through the credits. It was brilliantly done, in my opinion. And so it could so easily feed into whatever ideas they obviously envisioned for where that story would continue to go. But if they really do release it next year, this kind of leads into a tweet that I even made the other day where I still think there's a good chance that game might have a PS4 version also.
I thought about
honestly, that. I would put money on it. I kind of think it's going to happen.
You think if it's launching late into next year, they do that by that point? When they want to start phasing things out by the end of next year?
Apparently, the PS4 still has another 3 to 4 years left in it.
Oh, you think so?
I mean, PS2 went for however long, right? And I mean, PS4 sold almost as many units. So I think I could believe that they would support it for a couple of years.
God of War 2 came out after the PS3 came out. So that's true. Like, a year afterwards, the PS3 came out. God of War 2 came out on the PS2. So.
Rob, I'm curious. You said the game had a soft ending. You saw the actual ending, right? Because that's not a soft ending.
Well, I did. Okay, so when I see what you're saying, but when I say a soft ending, like it's you get that reveal moment, and the characters, the audience and Kratos discover a thing, right? And then you walk through the with the credits are going, and there's end game stuff after that, which I think is what you're talking about. But that initial ending to me, and where that even goes into the post end game stuff, to me, I still feel like is I guess I'm using soft ending loosely, but it feels like they're just ready for the next chapter to the point that, like you were saying, I'm sure that they wrapped and then they went right into the next where they envision that story to continue to go.
Gotcha.
It's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah.
Okay. They also had someone pointed this out as well. They also had Deathloop. I've looked at Deathloop a couple of times.
Ugh.
I'm not as sold on it. Maybe it's because I've seen it so much. I'm just ready for it to come out now because they show it constantly. I mean, the idea is interesting. Try to run through one loop to wipe out all of your enemies at once. But I think that's a game I would just have to play to try out. So it kind of got lost in this. It kind of got lost in this show a bit to me.
It's like Dishonored. It's Dishonored because same developers, and I think it's going to end up unfortunately being like Dishonored in that I think it'll end up being niche, and I think unfortunately people are going to figure out the perfect run, and then nobody will play it any other way. Of like once you figure out, all right, now I know how to get all the people and beat the game. It's going to be like, all right, next game.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Yeah. So I mean I like the show overall, but the real fireworks came afterwards. Like everything just kind of fell apart. Oh, Max, did you want to mention Final Fantasy 16 real quick?
Real quickly, so there's already a lot of theory videos up there. It's very interesting. This project has been long rumored. Apparently, it's been in development for quite a while. It looks so good. And one of the main topics in the Final Fantasy community is I think this is going to be the first M-rated Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that if you thought that's what it was going to be, because there was actually more blood than I figured would be in there for a Final Fantasy trying to skate that teen rating, and kind of the themes they were showing with war and all this. It looked, I mean, it looked pretty serious. So maybe they do. We had Final Fantasy Type 0 that was mature rated. So I think
Type 0
PSP game. That's on the Xbox. They moved it to the Xbox One and the PS4 as well. But as for a numbered Final Fantasy, that would be the first numbered Final Fantasy that would be mature rated. That I can think of.
Type 0. Type 0. It's mature.
So that's mature rated. That's actually a fairly violent game too when they moved it over.
Yeah, what made it mature? I'm curious.
They just had more violent moments.
Blood
in the game.
It's that, and I think like what you just said a second ago, Spawnway, which is the themes of war. Final Fantasy 16 is very much about war. This was very much about child soldiers specifically.
Yeah. So that in the beginning they wipe out a chocobo in like actually pretty violent fashion.
Yeah, it bleeds to death. Yeah,
I'm rating. You kill a chocobo, you're getting it in. Get it out.
I know we're going to move quick, but I mean I love Final Fantasy as well, but I think that the game, it looks great, and I think it's I'm excited for it, but I'm happy that it's not crazy on the graphics. You know, like that's not the thing that stood out. It seemed like they just wanted to get the game done because they've been doing this for a while now with 13, and like a lot of times graphics have been causing them issues and whatever the case is. But it very much looks like it could be on PS4 as well if they wanted to have it on there.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be PS5 and PC. So I'm happy that they're just focusing on the game.
Sure.
Let's just worry about that. The graphics are already good enough, you know. But it doesn't look too much better than what we saw from like Royal Edition on the PC or Royal Edition on the Xbox One X. You know,
it's the producer from Final Fantasy 14.
It's the producer. And a lot of people, we don't have confirmation. They've purposely said we're not going to make any more statements till 2021, but a lot of people are speculating that they do this in the Final Fantasy 14 engine because it's so easy to work with. So it's like, all right, we can just make good art. Man, even covering your mouth, that was loud as hell on the mic, RG.
I was going to try to mute again because I know my typing was getting, but I was like, there's no way I'm going to have time.
Jesus Christ. It's going to happen.
Transiting the station.
Sorry.
Like, it's coming. I was like one of those like Homer Simpson bars. It's like,
I told you I got agita tonight, man.
I think I'm smelling that through my microphone.
Oh gosh.
Was that roast beef?
Good lord.
MVG, what do you think about the show?
I thought it was good overall. It was, I'll say it was solid. It didn't knock it out of the park for me, but it was a pretty good showcase. You guys didn't talk about Village, Resident Evil. Yeah. I thought the second trailer that we saw kind of got me sold on the game. Like the first one they showed, I wasn't really big on it, but this one I'm getting into it. So I thought that was cool, and obviously Devil May Cry as well was another thing that I thought was pretty cool to see. But yeah, overall I thought the show was above average. I had no issues with the show, but like you said, it was everything that happened afterwards that was the problem, really.
I was kind of hoping they would have done a bit of gameplay for Village, like they did with like Spider-Man or Demon Soul. That's what I was really hoping for. Maybe they'll do. I don't know. Maybe they'll do something with that at Tokyo Game Show or something. A little more with that info with Capcom. It's very possible. But
I think that, I mean, so many people, we can kind of expect that to probably look so similar to Resident Evil 7, unless they surprise us somehow. That might be why they're holding off for now, and because it's next year too.
Yeah, it's supposed to come out next year. That's why I figured maybe Tokyo Game Show, since that's like the show. I guess that's gonna be the show after that. The game would already be out, so that's a nice shot for them to advertise a bit more. Nate, what'd you think about the show?
It was a good show. It served their purpose. They could have done better with communication. There was no reason to leave Miles Morales as a holiday game only to date it in a tweet later.
So I think I know why that is.
Or to throw up, the pricing and then not say, pre-orders are opening tomorrow and have Jeff Keighley do it. It was weird communication through Sony there. And Even Demon Souls, say it's a launch game. It's not hard to say launch day, and then we get the date at the end of the show.
So that was a pretty exciting game. Honestly, like that game. I actually watching. Like, I'm not a huge Souls fan. I suck at them all the same. But like after watching that, I was like, shit. Let me take out my Dark Souls remaster on the Switch. I feel like playing something like this.
It looks good. It looked
really good.
Well, so it's gonna, because all the Demon Souls and Dark Souls, all of them have co-op. So if you get stuck, RGT, you could actually summon me in your game, and I'll beat all the bosses for you. I'll be your dad. It'll be okay.
I will take advantage of that.
I had a weird experience with that. My fiance, she games a little bit too. She's actually a huge fan of like Dark Souls and Bloodborne. And I was really excited to show her that gameplay because I was like, you won't believe how good this looks. This is the most next-gen thing, and it's a Souls, so it's going to be really exciting. And I showed it to her, and she had, she's not nearly as much of like, a gamer as we all are, so keep that in mind. But it was interesting seeing someone who's more on the casual side. As I showed her that game, already a fan of Dark Souls, she actually kind of struggled with how it looked. She's like, she was like, I know it looks amazing. Like, I know it does because my eyes say that, but she thought it looked weird. And it was, I don't know, it was tough. I was like asking her about it, and we were trying to talk it out. And I was like, what, it obviously looks better than what Bloodborne and Dark Souls looks like, but why do you think it looks weird? And, she struggled to put it into words, but I thought it was interesting that somebody who's not a huge gamer, but is familiar with Dark Souls, thought that, I think what the new graphics, like a next-gen Demon Souls game looks like, it was kind of weird for her brain. I thought that was kind of interesting.
I saw some...
Get rid of her. She's defective.
The super hardcore Demon Souls fans, I saw a couple of people a little bit upset about how they changed the lighting style specifically, about how they made it look more spooky, how it's supposed to, like when you see that boss coming into the light. Like originally, everything was just static, one filter through everything, so you can clearly see enemies, you can clearly see pitfalls and traps, whereas now they're trying to go for like a spooky ambiance.
I did see some
they've
people...
got that per pixel lighting thing going on to show off the new tech. It looks incredible. Like I was blown away when I saw that. I was like, holy shit, this is like this is a next generation looking game.
I saw some people not as sold on the graphics on like Twitter and stuff, but I think it looked great. Like visually, I think it was good. Yeah. Some people were wondering, is this something that like wouldn't work on a PlayStation 4? They could probably make it work if they wanted to. Yeah,
but I mean, I think if they, I think it would, but I mean, they would have to, reduce the lighting stuff that they've done. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason why it couldn't run on the PS4.
But aside from even the visuals, one of the things that they really highlighted with Demon Souls was the transition into the areas, which was a simultaneous. There was no loading.
Yep,
that's true. With the fog,
there was the fog. Touched it, and boom, it was like loaded, and they were just walk right in. So that was pretty cool to see that. I'm excited for Demon Souls. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun, and that is going to only be on the PlayStation 5. They also had the file sizes up. That's going to be 66 gigabytes. Is that I don't know. Does that feel larger than people were expecting? Because some people seem to think there was going to be because I mean, if you look at like the Souls games, they're usually smaller games.
Yeah, I was about to say that same thing compared to most other games currently. They're definitely smaller than other games.
But it's right up to where you would expect for a lot of games on PS4 and Xbox, like the bigger games on PS4 and Xbox One.
I mean, it's 4K assets. It could be 8K assets. We don't know what texture sizes.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
And it sounds about right for me for a next gen game.
The Spider-Man Ultimate Edition is over 100 gigabytes with the original Spider-Man remastered as well.
I saw it. Yeah, it's like 105, right? Jeez.
Demon Souls is like there's not a lot of audio. Like there's not a lot of like
that's true.
Spoken audio, So they were able to get it to that size. I mean, if there was a lot of audio in there, like spoken,
how big is Sekiro? So I don't think Sekiro was that big either because I remember downloading it.
Like 16 gigs, I think, or 18 gigs.
I thought it was like 25.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. It was like 25.
Pretty small.
Yeah, that's still pretty small, I think, by comparison.
Can I really quick tack on what Nate was saying earlier? Just about like I feel like I agree with Nate. It was a missed opportunity where and they did this with when we first found out about Miles Morales. No one could tell if it was DLC, if it was standalone, if it was a whole new game, if it was just like no one could really tell. And then they had to clarify on Twitter what it was after articles that were incorrect were coming out. And then like people only really found out through Twitter. And then I feel like the same thing kind of happened again with Miles Morales being like, oh no, this is actually coming out on launch. It's not just holiday 2020. I think, and like, just put it in your trailers. Like you don't have to put the date, obviously, because you're like subconsciously leaking the launch date of the console, but like just say it's going to be a launch title. Like there are a lot of people who aren't as active on social media and they're going to get confused by that. Like if they just see the trailer and it's holiday 2020, I don't know if the trailers have been changed now with the date on it, but I know there are much more casual people on social media who they don't have Twitter. Twitter's very niche, you know, and they all of a sudden don't know, and then all of a sudden they know somehow, and it's like that could be done so much better. Like the marketing to me is like, please just be consistent.
The reason I think that happened. Oh, by the way, Rob was kind of right. Sekiro, when it first came out, apparently was like 13 gigabytes, but it's gone up to like 25 with patches and all this stuff. So that's actually one of the largest Souls games I think I've seen, like Souls-like games that I've seen, because even like Dark Souls on the PS4 I think was under 20 gigabytes. So that Demon Souls in comparison is pretty large.
Yeah, it's too bad because that 15 to 25 range feels like the ideal number for most games. It's just too bad that so many games this gen, and apparently going into the next gen, they seem to be so big. If every game, if a Call of Duty and a Doom and like a Halo could come out and be 25 gigs, even 30, that would just be so much more comfortable. But clearly we're going to be running into the same problem, and maybe you plan on bringing that up, John, but it's just so
more concerning. You know? It's more concerning with the PS5's storage space at 825, and then probably less than that because the PlayStation probably take like 80 gigabytes or something.
Yeah, the OS is going to eat up. The OS is going to eat up more, like probably like 100 gigs. You know,
the Pro should be just a 2 terabyte PS5. That should be the Pro model.
Another blunder of Sony's show is that you're launching this hardware in a couple of months, and you don't tell us about external storage solutions. It's
that's right.
800 gigabyte SSD, and now Miles is going to be 100 gigs. So I'm already using an eighth of my hard drive, and they didn't give us any information about are you releasing some sort of external solution at launch? When is this coming out? And that was the perfect opportunity to do it. And again, their marketing chose to be silent.
They're probably going to put a press release or a YouTube video out with because they're going to do the teardown. They're still going to do that, which should be interesting to see how that goes. And I assume sometime around that they'll do, okay, these are the NVMe drives we've decided that are good for it. You can try to buy one, but like roll the dice, because I assume when you pop it in, it'll run a test to make sure the read writes are good enough for it, and then it'll go from there. But
I'm not sure if they will though. I don't know if they will do the NVMe thing. Like I think the NVMe thing is just going to be a Twitter thing, like all the other information.
Sure, I can see that. Like just put it on like a blog post or something.
Yeah, because that's going to confuse the average person.
I figured they would put a video out to show how you install it, though.
Absolutely, they'll absolutely do that.
If they don't worry. I got everyone covered.
I was going to say that's for you. That's that bread.
Take care of it. Come see me. So the reason, by the way, I think there was no release dates in this, because I was thinking about it and I started talking to some people. I think a lot of these trailers were made a while ago.
Oh yeah, dude, this thing was filmed. this thing was filmed at least a month ago.
It might have been longer than that even. Yeah, I feel like it's been a bit. They've been holding on to this stuff for a little while now to paste it all together and put it out, because it was so weird. You figure those would have been the big moments. Like Demon Souls has this cool run through, and then at the end it's like launch day, launching with the PlayStation 5 exclusively on the PS5.
But come on, let's be honest. We all create content and we use Vegas and Adobe and all that stuff. How long does it take to edit an update to your video, right?
That's true.
Hard.
Yeah. I think
you only got to distribute it once.
I think what you run into is all the people you got to go through for approval. I bet you they have to approve the font.
Approval? They still screwed that up. They had games claiming it's coming. Oh yeah, it's on PC. Then they had to take down the trailer.
Oh, I love that.
That was awesome. That was so good.
So I mean, that went through all those eyes, and like, it screams that this presentation was, and even launch, it's just being thrown together at the last minute. It's like, we got to scramble now. And come on, both Sony and Microsoft, what are you doing? If you really cannot launch this year and look prepared, do the delay. Just,
you know what? I almost wonder.
Well, the thing about that is, one company would have to do it. One company would have to go through with the balls to do it. And then, but the problem is, I don't even necessarily, I think the other company would see that. Okay, let me rephrase that. Yes, but I almost feel maybe not. I feel that if Microsoft delayed, Sony would take it as an opportunity. But I honestly feel that if Sony delayed, Microsoft probably wouldn't launch on November 10th. I don't think they would wait all that much longer, but I think they would actually wait a little bit longer, like maybe January or something like that.
You can't at this point. You can't delay it though, because
not now. Yeah,
you can't. Now. I mean, even before with the investors, there's too much money on the line. It's just it just wasn't gonna happen.
But I also feel like why miss out on those holiday sales though? Yeah, you're gonna have tons of more people with the eyes on it than even just like the hardcore gamers are gonna buy it no matter what. There are a lot of people who buy their kids things for the holidays just because it's there.
That click nailed it, which is that the fact that these consoles would be better with an extra 3 months. Obviously, I think we can all agree these consoles would be better with those extra 3 months, but there's so many billions of dollars on the table. They don't have a choice. It's like launch it and figure it out.
Yeah, and the really frustrating thing is I actually think Sony was the one company who was really in the position to potentially delay, because it was Microsoft who actually said last year in 2019, before the world ended, that they were coming out holiday this year. But Sony never said anything until this year, till after that stuff was happening. So, you know, maybe conversations with their investors behind the scenes obviously could have influenced that, or maybe they were worried about Microsoft having that jump. But it would have been really nice. Like, Microsoft obviously had to commit and stick to this year because of last year. But it would have been great if Sony was willing to be like so confident that they would have said, you know what, we need the extra 5 or 6 months. You know, Nintendo could launch successfully in the spring in March. So maybe we're going to try the same thing. We're not worried about the Xbox Series X having that 5 or 6 months. So we'll just come out next year. But they clearly didn't do that. So
yeah, it didn't seem to matter too much, because after the show, randomly pre-orders just started breaking. It was all over the place. The word is that one retailer decided to post them up, and then all the other retailers were like, well, we're not missing this, we're posted too.
I think Walmart, right? Wasn't it Walmart?
Walmart started first.
So Walmart started, GameStop then went ahead, Best Buy, Target, websites started crashing. It was
we were going to get plenty of warning. We were going to get plenty of time.
That clip did not age well.
It was a nightmare for some people, right? Yeah. It was horrible.
I went to a GameStop. There's a GameStop near my house, and I just literally jumped in an Uber and went straight over there and pre-ordered it. I got the last disc drive one, and as I was leaving, about 20 cars pulled up. Everybody was literally getting in line to try and get it, and they had to tell everybody they were sold out. And this is a tiny one.
Hopefully you got out of there before they knew it was you, man.
I did. Well, and I was wearing my Dreamcast guy hat. I was like, oh, I'm going to a GameStop. I should wear it. And then after I got the pre-order and everybody was mad, I was like, boop, 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 take my hat.
I had a nice preview.
I have a YouTube channel.
I had a nice Demon Souls preview event with that Best Buy cart. It was getting out of control there, trying to get something to go through.
I wanted to strangle that Best Buy cart.
I was trying so hard.
If I could strangle it, I would have. But it's not only the Best Buy cart. I also had issues with Walmart. It's like, if you go to Walmart and you pre-order online and it's the PS5 is in your box, they should not say, oh, somebody else checked out faster than you, yours is sold out. It should
I agree.
Is that the message
for you?
I mean,
because you have bots. You have bots that are buying multiple ones as fast as possible.
Yeah, but then like you could like pre-order it, have it in your cart, and then go shop for a comforter.
What they do,
you know what I mean? Like
you got
put a time limit on it.
Yeah, they put a timer. That's what they do with tickets.
They put a timer. Do something. But the way
like
they
handle
seconds, like, you know,
the way
give
they
them
handle
like 10 minutes
is horrible. The way that they handle pre-orders is horrible, and then everyone wants to talk about scalpers and this and that. No, y'all should blame these stupid retailers and blame Sony. You know, blame Sony first and foremost, and then blame the retailers because of the way that they have how things work. It's just it didn't work out, and it pissed so many people off. You know,
if Microsoft is able to have told the world this is our pre-order date, and there's no issues with GameStops or Walmart's jumping out there throwing pre-orders out, clearly Sony could have organized some sort of agreement with them to say, don't do it until we tell you. So the fact that it happened that way makes me think that either they did it on purpose or they didn't even care.
I think Sony wanted pre-orders to go live before Microsoft, and they were probably trying to cut it really close, and their message ended up being, just go live. That's fine.
And one of the most frustrating parts to me about the whole thing is that this doesn't matter to Sony. At the end of the day, they aren't hurting at all, like some bad tweets and some frustrated people, but everyone's frustrated because they're dying to throw $500
they want to get it.
at Sony. Yes, and Sony is like, well, all of our pre-orders sold out no matter how it happened, y'all bought it. So it's kind of frustrating that we can't, I don't know what words to use, teach them a lesson, so to speak. You know, they're not learning.
I'll show you. Here's $500.
Yeah. I have the last laugh now. Here's my credit card.
How dare you get out your credit card? I'm really offended right now. I want you to know that.
I expect this type of stuff to happen. I'm not happy about this. No, the funny thing is I expect this stuff to happen. So like when Sony lies or when they mislead people, I'm like, oh, it's just Sony. You know, I expect that. There's certain things that I expect. So I'm not too angry about it. It's just something that I wish that was handled a little bit better. That's all. But I expect crazy stuff to happen. When you launch a console, it's not easy. I know how it is, like working with these companies. It's tough. It's not an easy thing to do. There's a lot of moving pieces. It's logistics during COVID, this has never happened, right? From the industry that I can think of from the 30 plus years I've been playing games, and we've never launched in this type of atmosphere with this type of thing going on worldwide. So there's going to be issues. So I'm not really like, if you take that into consideration, I mean, you can be upset, but it's not like something to get like super crazy.
I mean, and really, there's one major thing that I feel like we all just need to look at and take away with this is that I got my pre-order in, so fuck you all, baby. Fuck you all.
You didn't say that about. Never mind. You were like that with 3D All-Stars.
We'll get into it.
I was gonna say, hold on. Can we throw that?
Wait a minute here.
Can Sony be considered anti-consumer now?
I'm still talking about how it's a terrible situation.
They did come out and apologize on Twitter and say that more stock will be readily available in the coming days and weeks. So we'll see how that goes.
All that money we made from you.
Also, I assume like they went live randomly, but that didn't seem to stop scalpers because like eBay's still full of $1,000, $1,200, $1,300, $100 PS5. So they still got them. And
I mean, it could be people who maybe didn't even want one for themselves, so they just bought the one that they knew they wanted to sell, and they don't even care if they get one.
I guess the strategy is for some people buying two and selling one and just breaking even. I guess that was the strategy too. I don't know, but the idea is don't buy now, because it sounds like Sony might actually flood the market a bit, and then it'll drive the prices down for that. So
hopefully.
Don't buy until like a week before the PS5 drops, or who knows, maybe you'll have walk-ins. You can go in and just pick it up at a store because they flooded it.
December will be the real test on how much they have. Like, it's going to launch in November. Obviously, it's going to be scarce. But what's the stock? What's the count in December? And what are the prices going for? That's going to be exactly how. Okay, like because like December, it's Christmas, right? And you want to get to them before Christmas. So we'll see how the stock is around then.
Dude, the real test is going to be the failure rates on these things. I hope they haven't rushed these things out. Like, I'm really, really nervous about that there's just going to be a higher than normal failure rate because they've just rushed this thing to market. So hopefully, knock on wood, we're all good.
They're clocking that shit pretty high.
Dude, that's the thing I'm worried about the most is like, how is it going to handle the heat? And it's going to, the cooling and all that stuff, if it's going to be good, after 6 months or so after using it every day.
I need to see that teardown.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't pre-order one, and I'm going to wait till next year. So I hope
the move.
I hope for y'all's sake. I mean, that's what you guys do. You take stuff apart, you review it. That's fine, but I'm waiting because me personally, if it don't work, I'm like, poke it with a stick. I don't know what to do.
But there's really no reason to. I mean, now that they've, everything's coming out on the PS4 anyway. Like, if you want to play Horizon Forbidden West, just get the PS4 version and enjoy it.
Look at the bigger picture, though. If you get that defective PlayStation 5 and it doesn't work, think of the view. Think of the views you get on that video, baby.
Listen,
think of the views.
My PS5
I'm gonna take a leak on mine the second it comes in. Sorry, fuck me over,
dude. Imagine walking like, check out this. Here's my console. There we go. Okay, there we go.
People legit did that with the Xbox One. I saw an Xbox One that was white and crusty and like broke. He's like, I opened it up and it was just like this. I'm like, bro, you lying.
But again.
And he's like, he has a stupid look on his face. And I'm like, oh, 10 million views, like.
Hold up. But again,
bag, baby.
Women are dramatic. Let's just talk about that.
So much drama.
It'll be
dramatic for a reason.
Financially dramatic.
We'll just need to see that tear down, then we can get an idea of how the cooling is inside. So
I definitely if it wasn't for Demon Souls, I would have been pretty happy waiting, but that's the reason for me. I just have to have it day one.
They got it. They got us. Yep.
Can I say, I'm going to say it. I am butthurt that Miles Morales is cross-gen. I'm going to straight up say it because that's the number one reason I was buying.
Let's go into that now because we did after the showcase. They put a lot of stuff in the press releases that came out, kind of buried in some paragraphs all the way down their blog post. But part of that is that they will have cross-gen games. Sackboy, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Horizon Forbidden West are all going to be PS4 games as well, which is kind of funny because they certainly, I would say throughout this year, while Microsoft was talking about being cross-gen with their system, they didn't really say anything. Sony did until like less than 2 months before the PS5 dropped. They're like, oh yeah, those games we've been showing you on the PS5 are also going to be on the PS4, and they're going to be $70 on the PS5. It's they had a lot of information that came out all at once that was certainly not exciting information for people who
did Sony lie? Did they lie?
Oh, okay. So I went back through. Hold on. I went back through everything. Technically, they didn't lie.
Go on.
I did not ever catch a moment where they said only on PS5. I could not find it. I was looking everywhere. Unless I missed it. Unless I really missed it. I might have.
Let's face it, they heavily implied it. Like
they definitely implied
they
it.
said, like, this is the PlayStation 5 reveal of it, and you see Miles Morales slow motion. Like that's 100%. I'll be dead honest. The reason I pre-ordered this day one isn't just because I'm a little bit of a Sony pony. It's because I'm obsessed with Spider-Man. That's why I was there. I feel a little bit.
It's more misled. That's why I put a little question mark in mine. I said they kind of misled people to believe that with what they said and their actions. And if the thing about it is, like, if it's on the PlayStation 4, then just say it's on the. Why are you holding that to after the show and a little text afterwards?
Marketing is
just
weird,
say
dude.
PS4 and PS5. Everybody up until this point, we knew what games were coming to Xbox One and Xbox Series X. If there was exclusives or not, they let us know. But the fact that they're sitting there and everyone, even their own fan base, even when on their own social media accounts, they're saying only PS5, their fan base is rallying everybody on their own, and they see that, and then they wait all the way to the very end. They didn't disclose that beforehand. They wait all the way till when pre-orders drop after the show to make it believe. Like, that's the problem that people have. Maybe they didn't lie outright, but they really kind of misled people. Because everybody was on the boat.
It was deceptive.
These are not going to be PS4
But hey,
games.
more people get to play it. Technically, it could be,
and that's fine, and that's great. But you should have said that it was on the PlayStation 4. You made it seem as if it was only going to be a PS5, and it's harnessing the power. We really believe, like the way that Jim Ryan was talking about. We really believe in generations. It made it seem as if they're saying, "Hey, PS4, okay, PS5, we rocking with this." Like, that's the problem, and many people were misled. So.
Insomniac did that official statement, like I think it was a month and a half ago now. They did like an official statement talking about how Miles Morales could only run at 60 frames a second on the PS5, and they showed a really cool GIF of it, super beautiful, like swinging as Miles Morales. And I guess that's kind of a lie by omission, because what they didn't say is also 30 frames a second on PS4. Like, but I don't know, it's still disappointing to me. I want to see hardware pushers. Like, that's why we buy next gen is I want to play a game that could not exist on my PS4.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's hard for a lot of people to forget, because I agree with you. I mean, we all want that, which is part of why Demon's Souls is so exciting, but every console generation does this, right? Every console generation has ports of the previous generation. Like, so it's obviously, the problem is all of the implications that Sony made that, this is harnessing the power. You're not going to see this stuff go cross-gen.
That's true, Rob, but I mean, if I think about the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One and the PS3 to PS4, like, you had like Call of Duty Ghosts and stuff like that. I mean, and like Watch Dogs and stuff like that. I mean, they never deliberately, held back the previous gen version of that game and kind of announced the next gen version. I mean, they were pretty upfront and said, Ghost is coming to Xbox 360 and Xbox One and, all that stuff. So this time feels a little different, that they misled the public on this one a little.
The thing was, it was
100%.
It's hard. It was hard to believe in the first place that they would just be like, all right, we're done with over 110 million people on the PS4. We're just going to move to this unknown right now, because right now the PS5 is unknown until the first year or two when we see how it goes. That's got to be so hard to let go of that old the user base currently, and then go right into the new generation that's technically right now at 0 because they haven't released it yet. But I mean, the one that really got me was Horizon Forbidden West. Because when I heard that, I said,
that was a shocker.
That open world, man, needs that SSD. Oh, wait a minute. No, it doesn't.
Well, I remember there were things they couldn't do on the PS4, if I'm thinking correctly, that I remember they said in interviews. I think it was like flying dinosaurs or something. There were things they couldn't quite do on the PS4. So now I'm thinking, well, it can't be the exact same game on the PS5 and the PS4 if there were things they couldn't do there. So I
think I'm in a tough place with it, because obviously the lying and the implications and all that stuff, that is the real problem. Like the practice Sony went through of making us believe they were going to be only PS5. But if I separate from that, I'm not personally, I might be alone in this, but I'm not super bothered by it because of the other stuff I was mentioning. It is pretty common. And obviously letting go of that 110 million install base, whatever the PS4 is at, it's so insane. I mean, we expect companies to do that. Halo is going to be cross-gen. Breath of the Wild was cross-gen. Twilight Princess was cross-gen even. And so, like, these things...
They let us know about that well in advance.
Totally. Yeah, and I'm not denying that.
Issue.
Yeah, and you're right. Like, I agree. Again, I'm not denying that. To me, it's like... half of my brain says that part is the problem, but if I also look at the other angle of just the games and what they're doing, it's like, well, it does happen. It's not surprising. Like, why not sell Horizon on the PS4? I want the PS5 version, but I get it. So that's kind of why I'm saying I'm like conflicted about it, because I get both angles, you know?
Yeah, but this shouldn't have even been a story, because if when they first showed it, it popped up with the logo PS5 and PS4. It would just be like, all right, moving on.
I mean, but I think...
go ahead, Clay.
I was just going to say, if they from the beginning had said that it was going to be for PS4, a lot of people would have been like, okay, why would I buy a PS5 yet? And I think they definitely wanted to drive as many people to get those pre-orders as possible. So they tell that after the fact.
Couldn't you say the exact same thing? Wow, I wasn't done. Couldn't you say the exact same thing about that? Couldn't you say the same thing about the Xbox Series X though? In that case,
people are saying that. That was the narrative. Xbox Series X, it has the same games.
Exactly, and that's what makes Sony look like absolute fucking scumbags in this situation, because they knew the whole time. They knew the whole time that those games were going to be coming to the PlayStation 4.
But they know people are not going to be as critical of them.
Then why wouldn't they just announce it in the first place?
Listen, dude, I want to know why too, because their marketing to me has made me raise a question mark every now and then. I'm just saying also, if they want to drive that hype, they're not going to show it during the main event. They'll say it afterwards, just like everything else.
And to add to that, I have questions about Gran Turismo 7. I have questions about Ratchet. I have questions about everything.
Exactly.
God of War. Is that PS4?
God of War, yeah.
I mean, if it was truly started development 3 years ago, then... I mean, they didn't have dev kits back then, right? So, you know, is that a cross-gen game as well? That's where it gets interesting. I mean, everything that we saw in the previous showcase, not this one, the first one where they showed, you know, Gran Turismo, and the first time we saw Miles Morales. I mean, all those games could potentially be running on PS4. You know.
Yeah. Well, so I think the whole point of this, let's face it, this was at the very least misleading marketing. I think it's that they were getting us ready for the idea of a $500 console so that dumb bitches like me would pile up $500. And when they announced that console's release date, I pre-ordered it instantly. At this point, it doesn't matter that these games are coming to PS4. I already set aside the $500. I got it. Like, whatever.
So everyone's excited to pay $70 for games now, right?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, that's not I don't know. That seems like such a weird thing, because I think most of us grew up in the 16-bit era. Maybe not Click and Jordan, but I mean, during the 16, it's not a knock. It's not a knock. I'm saying, if anything, it's good that you're younger than us. But I mean, we grew up in the 16-bit era. You know,
I grew up on arcade cabinets. Come on, man.
How old are you?
What the hell is that? What is it?
It doesn't have anything to do with how old I am. It has anything to do with how old my parents are.
Okay, did you go buy 16-bit and N64 games? That's where I'm going with this.
I see what Sean's saying. Like,
were you buying 16-bit and 64 games, Sean?
No, I said 16-bit and N64 and N64. But no, games like Killer Instinct was like a $70 game. Chrono Trigger, Virtual Racing was a $100 game.
Was like $90.
N64 games when they came. And I know what you're gonna say, but say it.
Okay, no, go ahead.
No, but say it. No, say it. Just in case other people don't.
The whole atmosphere is different, though. Renting, like, people didn't like. I know for me, when I was growing up, we would share games way more. It was different. Yes. You couldn't afford to spend. My parents could never afford these $70 games. Yes. We would have to buy them at the mom and pop shops. They would have them way cheaper. You don't buy them day one.
Yeah,
like, you definitely wait till they're cheaper.
Yeah, that price hike's gonna be crazy. If only there was like a program, like I don't know, like a Game Pass or something.
Like a Game Pass.
Purchase to offset it.
Yeah, that I will say that jump in price definitely made Game Pass look a bit more valuable now for some people.
The jump in price is going to impact buying habits, and the jump in price is even more substantial for European regions. In the UK,
they're getting fucked.
Game prices have doubled in the UK in 10 years.
Canada's getting screwed. Australia's getting screwed.
$100. I can.
It's like $100 or something.
Dude, it's more in Australia. It's $127 for Demon Souls.
Wow. Wait. Like translation.
What a demonic price.
127 Australian dollars, but that still doesn't add up to $70 US.
Oh, why?
Wait, it still doesn't?
No.
What is that? How much does that come out to? I have to know.
Probably about 100 US, maybe a little less.
That's
okay. I see.
Still more.
Huh. Why is there a specific reason why games have like scaled weirdly over there?
Well, I mean, I don't really know.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like $90 US.
Yeah, 87.49.
Yeah.
It's like taxes and shit.
Yeah.
Import tax, yeah.
So so games are still air quotes cheapest here just because there are a lot of them are made here.
God
yeah, I guess. Yeah,
Sorry, where are we talking about? Brazil?
No, God,
we're talking about Australia.
Oh.
And
pretty much anywhere. It's pretty much anywhere that isn't Japan or the United States is getting screwed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It might be I don't know. Japan sometimes gets really expensive. Some of their games are kind of expensive too, from what I remember.
This would have been a great time to make digital a little bit cheaper for some areas.
That's a good point with digital because they get a better cut of it.
Yeah, I kind of wish that was already the case. Like I think a lot of us on the podcast might feel this way, but I'm definitely not really into the all digital future that we all know is coming. Mm-hmm. But I would be way more like open to buying into it if digital games were like half the price. Like if I could buy, Mario 3D All Stars for $60 physical or $20.99 for digital, that would change my perception. But like that's obviously not the case. That was a weird example. Obviously,
game for you, Rob. Go fuck yourself. $60, please.
Well, I was gonna say even 50. Since games are going up to 70, I would gladly pay $50 straight up. I would pay $50 for a digital game.
$50 seems to be like a good, because like the game they still spent millions of dollars making the game.
Yeah.
But I think 50 would be cool if it was like 50 or like 55, or maybe even it was just $10 off. Like let's just say it was the standard MSRP that that we got for this generation. Yeah,
anything. Literally anything. $5.
I need a bigger discount. I'm just saying I need a bigger discount because I am so anti-digital that it's like you got to really convince me. But I'm a unique case. I think more people are open to it than I am. So really, the $50 price
I
point
like
makes
physical.
sense.
I still buy everything that I can get physical. Like the only time I buy digital is like when it's like an overwhelmingly good deal or it's only digital, like indie games. I don't really buy digital.
Rob, for some reason, I picture hanging out with you and you're like, hey, let's get in my car and go somewhere. And I'm like, oh, let me pull up some music on iTunes. And you smack it out of my hand. I've got CDs, bitch.
Hey, I do have CDs, but surprisingly, even as a musician myself, in music only, I definitely have bought into the. I mean, I live by Spotify, man. It is my, but I pay for it. I do pay for Spotify because I've got my own music on Spotify.
At least. I was going to say, at least now that it's $70, we don't have to worry about microtransactions and stuff in the game. So,
in theory,
please.
That's
what I've been hearing. I've been hearing games are too expensive to make. We'll just raise it $10. So,
the basketball game is $70 with hella microtransactions.
Well, that doesn't make. That's not what they told us. They said that wouldn't happen.
No, I mean, I will say if games are getting more expensive to make over time, but I think if we were to see like a substantial, like if the raise on the price, applying it to digital, right? Especially in the future, if we're going to be nothing but digital. Like if we were seeing crazy expansion and development of games, or also like, I don't know, the devs were actually paid more. Like if that's what the money went towards, I'd have no problem paying $70 because you're working these people to the bone. But you're not.
The publishers are going to just take that money. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like
devs aren't going to get paid any more money. They're not going to just give pay rises to devs.
Bobby Kotick needs another yacht. All right,
call it the SS.
All right,
that Bobby $40 million and he's not paying his employees. $40 million and he's not paying his employees.
Dude.
You know, like that. $40 million and he's not paying his employees. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yep. So that it was a lot of fun seeing all the fallout after the PlayStation event, just because everything was happening while the pre-orders were going down. So it was a disaster. Yeah. So hopefully everyone who wants a PlayStation 5 is able to get one leading up to launch, and they get more stock out there. But it's going to be interesting. Nate, you have any take on the price increase before we go to some of the Discord questions and super chats?
No, I mean, it's going to impact buying habits probably for a lot of people. If you're going all digital, you might hesitate on a game now. You might say, oh, $7 is a lot for a game I'm going to keep. So it's going to be a game that you're going to replay time and time again. But even physical buyers are probably going to have that discussion with themselves now. And it will be interesting to see how the consumers react to this. Will it cause, maybe launch sales to be slightly lower than companies would anticipate because the buyer is making a conscious decision to say, I'm not spending $70. I can wait for a sale. And with Sony games, we've kind of become accustomed to the idea that their games go on sale within 3 months. But now, what's a sale price?
Oh, that's a good point.
$50? Is it $60? We don't know what they're going to discount.
I'm waiting for that $50 sale.
And now it's like, great, you're going back to the standard pricing that we're used to for your sale. And, if that does happen, that they are discounting games quickly, well, people aren't going to be buying $70 games at launch. They'll wait 3 months and pick it up for $50. Or we see Sony and maybe even third parties say, we're not going to discount games that quickly anymore because we're noticing that when we do, you're buying them. We raise the price to $70 because of, budgets or whatever they want to tell us. So you have to make back all that money. So maybe now we're looking at 6 to 8 months before we see sales on some of these games. And it's going to come down to how the consumer responds to the price increase.
Ooh, what that means that if they do 30% off, it's like $50. So they could still advertise a 30% cut, and they're still selling a $50 game.
Jesus Christ.
That's going to be something else there. Oof.